For months, she stayed silent, enduring his cruelty. But when he crossed the line, her father, the town's new police chief, made sure justice was served. The lunchroom at West Ridge Middle School wasn't a place of food fights or flying fists. It was a battlefield of whispers, stares, and invisible lines. You either belonged or you didn't. 13-year-old Eva Sinclair knew where she stood. At the far end of the cafeteria, she picked at her peanut butter sandwich, pretending not to hear the whispers from 2 tables away. Why does she always sit alone? Maybe she doesn't have any friends. Eva had heard it all before. She wasn't new to being an outsider. As one of the few black students at West Ridge, she had learned early that blending in wasn't an option. Instead, she moved like a shadow, staying invisible. It was easier that way, but Connor Tate wouldn't let her disappear. Connor wasn't just another student, he was the kind of kid who walked like he owned the place. The son of a wealthy businessman, he had friends in all the right places. Teachers smiled at his name. Parents invited him to pool parties. He could talk his way out of anything, and for the past month, he had decided Eva was his favorite target. It started small, knocking her books off her desk, accidentally bumping into her in the hallway. Things kids do, nothing anyone would call bullying. But it never stopped there. Today, it was her lunch. Eva had barely taken a bite when a hand snatched her paper bag. She looked up. Connor grinned, as if it were all a joke. "What you got, Sinclair?" He tore the bag open, pulled out her sandwich, and sneered. "Peanut butter, seriously? Guess your dad's new job doesn't pay enough for real food." Laughter rippled through the cafeteria. Ava's fingers curled under the table, her jaw tightening. But she stayed silent, she always did. Connor leaned in closer. "You know, you should really say thank you. I'm just trying to help you diet." He tossed the sandwich over his shoulder. It landed with a soft splat on the floor. Ava's stomach twisted. She wasn't going to cry. Not here. Not in front of them. She reached down to grab what was left of her lunch, but before she could, a foot came down, smashing it into the tile. Connor smirked. Oops. For a moment, the world shrank. Just Eva, the crushed sandwich, and the sound of their laughter. She grabbed her backpack and stood, pushing past the tables, ignoring the whispers and snickers. She walked past the cafeteria doors, past the lockers, all the way to the girls' bathroom. She locked the stall, sat down, and took a deep breath. This was nothing new. She would wait until the lunch bell rang, then slip out and pretend none of it had happened. Because telling someone never worked. Teachers would say, "Just ignore him." The principal would call it a misunderstanding. And tomorrow, it would start again. But Eva didn't know that tomorrow would be different. Tomorrow, she would fight back. And tomorrow, Connor would push her further than he ever had before. The next day, Eva woke up with a knot in her stomach. The school hallways felt narrower, the whispers louder. Before first period, as she pulled books from her locker, something hit her back hard. She stumbled forward, her forehead nearly smacking into the cold metal. Laughter. She turned slowly. Connor leaned against the lockers, smirking. "My bad, Sinclair. Didn't see you there." Her fists clenched at her sides, but she said nothing. That's what he wanted, a reaction. By lunchtime, it had spread, a rumor. She wasn't sure who started it, but she could guess. "Did you hear?" She tried to fight Connor. "No way." "Yeah, swung on him and everything." That she cried after. Eva stopped in her tracks, her mouth going dry. Connor sat at his usual table, grinning as he scrolled through his phone, like none of it mattered. Her fingers curled into the fabric of her sweater. This was worse than the shoving, the stolen lunches, the tripping in the hallways. This was making sure she was alone, making sure no one wanted to sit with her, talk to her, be seen with her. And it worked. She sat alone that day. And the next, and the next. By Friday, she thought maybe he had gotten bored. She was wrong. The final bell rang, and Eva walked toward the front doors, relieved to be going home. She was halfway across the parking lot when she heard a voice behind her. "Hey, Sinclair." She ignored it, kept walking. "Where are you going?" Thought we were friends. Her fingers gripped the straps of her backpack tighter. The pavement felt to open, too exposed. A hand grabbed her wrist. She jerked away, spinning around. "Don't touch me." Connor grinned, like this was all a game. "Relax. I just wanted to say hi." The boys behind him laughed. They always did. Ava's pulse pounded in her ears. "Leave me alone." Connor leaned in, his voice low. "Or what? You're gonna tell on me." Something snapped. Before she knew what she was doing, Eva shoved him hard. Connor stumbled back a step, caught off guard for the first time. He wasn't smirking, and that should have been the end of it, but it wasn't. Because Connor wasn't used to being embarrassed. And in that moment, he decided to make sure she never forgot it. Eva barely slept that night. The moment her head hit the pillow, her mind replayed the scene, the look on Connor's face. The way his friends had gone quiet for just a second before the laughter started again. She had never fought back before, and now she had no idea what was coming next. Story continues with Connor escalating his actions, his cruel prank that spreads across the school, and Ava's father stepping in to change everything. Connor finally faces real consequences, and Eva learns she isn't as alone as she thought. No one should have to fight just to be treated with respect. But standing up for yourself isn't always easy. Sometimes people will look away. Sometimes they'll pretend it's not happening. But silence helps bullies win. The moment you refuse to let them define you, that's when they lose their power. If this story meant something to you, consider subscribing to Unfolded Tales Explained and pressing the bell icon. Because these conversations matter. The more we talk about them, the harder it is for anyone to pretend they don't.